Trading journey, there's been by far two most important points where I had to realize, okay, in one point of these times, I'm coming from a place of like really building vast amounts of pressure and putting unnecessary amounts of pressure on myself in trying to make this shit work. And then there were also times where there was like completely no pressure. And out of those two times, when was it that I was making more money and not actually losing money? When was it that I was profitable compared to unprofitable? And that's the exact difference. It was like when there was no pressure, profitable. When there's pressure, unprofitable. At least until you get to a certain point, right? And the reason for this, boys, is you have to understand, right? At the end of the day, we know that trading, for the most part, is a psychology game. Yes, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying you don't need a strategy. You definitely do. It's the most important part, obviously, with trading. Like, you need to have an edge built, right? But most of the time, right, if not all the time, we know that almost all strategies work. We have people trading trend lines. We have people using indicators. You see this all over the internet. There's proof of concept everywhere, right? And so if we know that all strategies really work, where is necessarily like the actual edge? It's in the psychology, in the person themselves, and how they're able to manage themselves in their trading. And again, what is that? That's psychology. And so when we think of pressure, what is pressure? What is it actually fucking with? And that's exactly what it is right there. The pressure is fucking with your trading psychology. And so think of two times. When is more pressure, right, gonna be taken to your advantage? Is it when you have to make money today, this trade has to hit? Or when there's no pressure, when you're like, you know what, bro, like, I'm just gonna approach the markets level-headed, all good, on the norm. And if this trade hits stop loss, if I lose some money today, it's good. If it hits take profit, it's good. Like, which one of those sounds like the more profitable trader to you, right? The more consistent trader. The guy on the right, bro, the guy that has no fucking pressure. He's just moving with the flow of things. And that's exactly what I'm talking about in this video, okay? There were so many points in my journey where I was approaching trading with this sense of not just urgency, because I do believe you definitely need some sense of urgency, but more so from a place of desperation and like, hey, I need to make money with this shit right now, otherwise I'm fucked. And those times, why was it so bad for me in those times? Why was I losing the most amount of money in those times? Why was I not making any money? Why was I failing challenge after challenge? Why was I depositing money into my broker and blowing it again and again and again? And it's because of that. There's that sense of desperation there, bro. And what is that? What happens in that, right? That leads to not only your psychology being fucked, but everything with how you're approaching the market. You know, how many trades you're taking, the revenge trading to make your money back now because you've lost money or you've blown in accounts, you're gonna deposit more, and all those bad fucking behavior traits that come with being an unprofitable trader, right? And so again, why? Because of all that pressure, that desperation that you're going into the game with. And all of you boys know this, bro. If you're an actual trader, you fucking know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're new to trading, you will soon understand what I'm talking about, right? Because what happens when you now know you need to make money off of trading in the early stages, okay? I'm not talking about once you have experience, different game then, but early on, before you're consistently being like a profitable trader, bro, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. You're putting too much pressure on this trade. Your psychology and your emotions are completely now fucked out the window. You're not gonna know how to approach the game properly. And that's exactly what got you to being profitable in the fucking first place and building the edge, was your emotions and you managing yourself, right? And now compare those points in my journey to the points where, I had money coming in. I was working a job. I'm allowing the process to play out. I'm learning. I'm approaching every trading day with a sense of patience, with a sense of, hey, you know what? If this trade doesn't hit today, that's okay. If this trade hits today, that's fucking great. Up 3%. If it doesn't, down 1%. Understanding risk management, understanding where I'm at with my own head, the self-awareness, being able to not trade today, being able to walk into my fucking room, have my setup be next to my bed and say, you know what? I actually just don't feel like trading today. I'm gonna fucking go to sleep. I had a long day. I'm really tired. I don't want to take that into the charts. I'm not even gonna, have that level of fucking urgency. And I always say this in a lot of my videos, like a lot of you guys, test yourself, bro. See how many days out of this week and next week that you can actually go without trading, with taking the least amount of trades possible. And I promise you, because now you don't have that fucking sense of desperation, watch how much more profitable you will be. I always say this, bro. A lot of you guys are actually already profitable. You just don't fucking know it yet. Try doing 1 trade a day and see what happens for you. You'll become more fucking consistent with the kind of setup you're looking for. You'll become a lot less likely, right? Because now you have 1 trade that you can only take a day. To overtrade it completely eliminates that. And all these kind of things, again, because now you've completely taken like a lot of the pressure off of the fucking table with what you're actually trying to do, bro. And this is why I always say it just comes down to allowing the process to play out. I get it, boys. Listen, you know, when you're in a tough spot, and ultimately I think this is why a lot of people get into, you know, wanting a better life, wanting to make more money, again, into trading, drop shipping, whatever the fuck it is you're doing. It's because you're coming from a sense of like, hey, something needs to change, and now there's like a fire under your ass, right? Because if there wasn't a fire under your ass and you were comfortable beforehand, would you have really gotten into this headspace of trying to achieve more? Who knows, right? And so when you come into this game with that, which is normal, you know, it's going to take you a while to learn this stuff, but when you come from that place, as I'm saying, like, I know what it's like when you come into the game and you're like, fuck, dude, like, I need to make it out. Like, I hate my fucking job. You know, all these things. That's okay. And urgency is necessary. It's needed, right? Because without that sense of urgency, you're taking things too slow. You're probably going to be wasting time. But there's definitely a big difference, bro, between trying to rush the process and, being patient, or sorry, trying to rush the process and being impatient, compared to like fucking understanding that you need to be patient and still just have urgency with what you're doing. Like, there's nothing wrong with the urgency, but there is something wrong with trying to take shortcuts and trying to fucking put all this vast amounts of pressure on yourself. Like, hey, I need to be successful today. You know, I remember there was a quote Umar Ashraf once said, bro, when I was about 2.5 years into my journey, that really stuck with me. I was actually in Europe. I posted the video on this channel. I remember I said it in there, bro. He said, you know, you trying to be successful in 3 weeks is going to prohibit you from being successful in 3 years. And that's exactly what I'm trying to talk about in this video, bro. It's like you're putting so much pressure on yourself in the day-to-day, and you're not allowing for that shit to just the process to play out, that you're fucking yourself over day-to-day. And we all know, bro, that day-to-day tasks is what makes the long-term goals. And so until you get to that point where you got to understand that, hey, you know what, I need to stop putting all this fucking pressure on myself. I need to enjoy the current present and moment that I'm in, no matter how shitty it is. That will lead to me being successful faster, okay? There was also a quote, I think it was Rick Ross, that he said, I've seen like a short on Instagram, I'm sure you guys have fucking seen it, bro, where he's like, you know, if it takes 2 years, fuck it, it takes 2 years. That's fine. 2 years is technically a long time, right? But as long as we don't waste no fucking time. That's really what I'm trying to get you guys to understand here, is just approaching this game with the right kind of, you know, mentality, with the right kind of approach, with the being in the right kind of headspace, okay? As opposed to like understanding and thinking that, you know, I gotta make money today, bro. I need to quit my job today. Like, that shit's gonna prohibit you from quitting your job in the future, is you trying to quit your fucking job today. And it doesn't even have to do just with your job, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So, gentlemen, with that being said, hopefully you boys took something valuable from this video and understanding. Listen, bro, don't put too much fucking pressure on yourself. What happens when you do that is you're just fucking yourself up in the future. You need to learn to trust the process, to enjoy the moment you're in, and to just be on your grind. Obviously, have some sense of urgency there. Don't waste no motherfucking time. But let's get to fucking business, and let's handle that fucking business. Love you boys as always, and we'll see you in the next one.